Hi everybody, Dan Illman here, taking a look at race number 5 at Santa Anita on opening day Saturday. It is the Grade 2 San Antonio Stakes. $200,000 is the purse. Before we get to the analysis, I do want to remind you, big deal going on at DRF.com. If you head on over to shop.drf.com, you get to take 25% off the entire store. Use code DRF. 2020. Here's the field for the Grade 2 San Antonio. Your morning line favorite at 9-5 is the defending champion in this race. The number 2 Gift Box won this race off a layoff last year. Going to try to do it again off a layoff this year. We'll talk about his chances as well as those of every other horse in the race in a minute. I first want to take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this field. And we take a look at it. We see the number 3 King Abner out there on the lead. Boy, King Abner, if he can get the lead, he's sharp right now. Is he good enough to win a race like the San Antonio? He's a Calbred. He's run okay in graded stakes company. They tried it once in the Steve Sexton Mile. He ran fine. Is he good enough to win? I'd feel a lot more comfortable if this Timeform US pace projector had the blue bar indicating it would favor horses on or near the early lead, or that it would have perhaps a pace that would be soft for King Abner. I wonder if Midcourt, the 6, will be just a little bit closer to the pace. He just went gate to wire last time out in the Native Diver. I know it wasn't a very fast pace and he's capable from off of it, but Victor Espinoza now has options. He might be able to have the 6, Midcourt, up close to the pace. Gift Box, we know, is very tactical. He's the number 2 horse. He should be in prime position. The question is he fit enough off of the long layoff? We'll start the handicapping with the 1, Gray Magician. And this has been a much maligned group of 3-year-olds. We know that. Gray Magician, though, has been very, very consistent on fast tracks. It seems like he shows up each and every time, especially since the Kentucky Derby. He came back and he ran second in the Indiana Derby behind Mr. Money, who was kind of the bee's knees, second division 3-year-old at the time. And he finished ahead of Math Wizard, who then pulled off the upset in the Pennsylvania Derby a couple starts after. Ellis Park Derby, game. He won that race. I know Nick's Go isn't great. He was a Grade 1 winner as a 2-year-old. And the Smarty Jones, he got beat ahead by Spun to Run, who ended up winning the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile and second in the Cigar. After the Smarty Jones, he ran at Keeneland last time out in an optional claiming race, and he did what he had to do. This is a horse who's never going to dazzle. But as we turn to the stretch of that race at Keeneland, he's on the outside. He's already made the lead. He's pretty much got this race locked up in the bag. And it's a grinding effort, and he wins by a neck. Now, he was supposed to compete at Santa Anita on Breeders' Cup week, and he was listed as a vet scratch on November the 2nd, and it took Peter Miller over a month to get him back to the work tab. That usually would be concerning. As we cue the formulator fact, maybe it'll allays your fears somewhat. Past 3 years, races for horses 3-year-olds and up, last out winners on dirt off 2 to 4 month layoffs, Miller's almost hitting at 30%, and the ROI is very good. $3.77. So, okay, Gray Magician's got to take on older horses for the first time. If you don't like the 3-year-old crop, you're probably going to throw him out. But I think the Gray Magician fits, at least for a piece, in this tough San Antonio field. Now, Gift Box won this race last year off of a March to December layoff. This was a horse that had always showed ability in New York, just never could get over the hump. He was 3rd in the Remsen as a 2-year-old. He was 4th in the Travers as a 3-year-old. But he would find ways to lose as the favorite against inferior competition. It must have drove Chad Brown crazy. John Sadler took him over, and this horse became almost an immediate revelation. Winning the San Antonio, winning the Big Cap over McKenzie, propelling himself as to one of the top 5 older dirt horses in the country. Just got beat 3/4 of a length by Vino Rosso in the Gold Cup at Santa Anita. Vino Rosso, of course, won the Breeders' Cup Classic. Last time out in the Stephen Foster, he ran okay, didn't run great, finished just behind Tom's D'Etat, who came back to win the Alley Dar at Saratoga with the 104 Buyer, recently won the Grade 1 Clark. He's one of the better handicap horses in the country. Gift Box hasn't run since June 15th. He popped a splint bone. They wanted to run him in the Pacific Classic. They couldn't get him sound. John Sadler does well off long layoff horses. Again, obviously, this horse won off a long layoff last year. Gift Box is probably the horse to beat. He's the classiest. He's run some fast races. I'm not convinced just yet. I still, in the back of my mind, remember Gift Box from New York. I don't trust him at a short price. Can he win? Yes. I think there's value elsewhere. King Abner, Timeform US believes, can make the lead. He doesn't need the lead to win, but it could surely help, especially if he could back down the pace under Tyler Bays. He got a nice prep last time out, going turf to dirt, second off the layoff, sprint to route at Del Mar. We'll look at that race right now. This is an easy win. He sat just off the leaders. He took over turning into the stretch, And yeah, he's 7-10. He's supposed to win this race. But this is just non-exertion, just having fun. It's a morning workout for King Abner, a horse that's run 100 Beyer speed figures at Santa Anita over a wet track. We know we've had a lot of rain at Santa Anita, forced the cancellation or the postponement of the card from Thursday to Saturday. King Abner's interesting in this race because of his tactical speed, because he handles a wet track, and because he's obviously in good form. That last race was very, very solid. We'll move now to Draft Pick, and I think Draft Pick's interesting. He was always cut out to be a good horse. He was a graded stakes winner at Santa Anita at 3. After running second in the West Virginia Derby, he went to the sidelines for a long time. And he came back and he did a lot of work in a short amount of time. Third in the San Diego Handicap behind Catalina Cruiser, very good horse. This race, the Pacific Classic, this was a race that's very tough to analyze. It was a race that had a lot of notable no-shows. Quip, Seeking the Soul, short price horses didn't show up. Here is the race right now for Draft Pick. And Higher Power just got to the front, got the jump. We see Draft Pick on the outside. He tries very hard. He's going to get second. This is one of the best performances of his life, a 100 Beyer speed figure. He regressed off this race in the Awesome again over a track that just seemed to favor horses on the lead. There was no pace whatsoever, and he just didn't fire. And I think Peter Urton did a very smart thing in bypassing the Breeders' Cup and running him in the Clark Handicap. And while he was fourth in the Clark behind Tom's d'Etat, I think he did some good things. He wasn't very fast out of the gate. He was down towards the inside most of the way. He was in behind horses in upper stretch. He really didn't get optimal clearance till late. He wouldn't have won with a perfect trip, but he was running at the end of that race. I think the slight turn back to 1 mile and a 16th works for him. It's all about whether he can stay within range. He might need a little pace help up front because he doesn't have a lot of early speed. Mugaritz is going to try dirt, and why not? He's won 6 in a row for trainer Jonathan Wong up in Northern California, including a race on dirt in the fair circuit at Fresno. His most recent start was his best ever from a Beyer standpoint. We'll take a look at the Grade 3 Berkeley handicap win right now. He's in the big white blinkers. We see him splitting horses. He's now down towards the inside, and it's up, and away for this sharp gelded son of Dialed Again, and the Beyers just seem to be moving forward. He's come back off that March layoff, a new horse. Now he's going to have to take another step forward. There are horses in this race that can run triple-digit Beyers. This 93 Beyer, again, was Mugaritz's best, and it was on a different surface than dirt. But he's another one that's tactical. I wonder if they get aggressive with this horse, and they try to put him outright on the lead. Midcourt is up next, and I think Midcourt might be a very interesting prospect for 2020. He's a 4-year-old. He's missed a lot of time in his career, but now John Sheriffs is going to have him running 3 races in a row without being interrupted by a pesky layoff line. He came back in the Comet to the Top Stakes. He won the race from last. He then stretched out in the Native Diver. He won it on the lead. Let's watch the Native Diver right now. It's a short field, and Victor Espinoza gave this horse a great ride, getting him out to the front. But he handles this field very nicely, and he's getting away from them at the end. I think Midcourt really appreciated the 1 1/8 miles. I think that might be sort of his best distance down the road, but we know he's good at 1 mile and 1 1/16 miles. He's won 4 races in a row right now. He can win from on or off. I have to use this horse in multiple race exotics. I think he's a very strong contender in here. Fight On, he is the outsider in here, stretching out for Doug O'Neill. His most recent start was his first race off of a lengthy layoff. I will not hold it against him. He was in against a sharp sprinter named 3-5 India, who will be competing at Laurel Park in stakes action on Saturday. You'll probably get a look at his race before Fight On competes. Fight On did some good things earlier in the year at Oaklawn, especially over wet tracks, and maybe that's something to keep an eye on if the track at Santa Anita retains some moisture. I just think this is a big step up, not only in distance, but in class, as he goes second off the layoff. We'll take a look at my pick in this race. I'm hoping that this pace heats up just a little bit. I'm hoping that maybe Midcourt goes after a horse like King Abner. Maybe the stretch-out sprinter Fight On's close to the pace. Maybe Mugaritz is up close. I'm hoping the Draft Pick can get back to his Pacific Classic. He ran a 100 Beyer speed figure that day, but he ran a 96 prior to that in the San Diego. He just seems like an honest horse in good form right now. And I think the price will be okay because Gift Box is going to take a lot of money. I'm going to try to beat Gift Box in here. He can easily win. But the horses I want are the 4, Draft Pick, the 6, that is Midcourt. 4615 for me. Grade 2 San Antonio. Huge day of racing at Santa Anita on Saturday. This race has an approximate post time of 1 o'clock Pacific. Best of luck.